And actually,
but you called me average after
you
1
are
minute.
average.
But you called me after 1 minute of my first professional fight.
No, but you're still average. You're not.
It's not true. I just beat a 5-time world
beat
champion.
a UF.
Joshua against Jake Paul. Please put this to bed or light the fire. What's going on?
I mean, sorry. This is the first time I've spoken about the fight. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'll do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean?
I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing.
It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul.
Eddie Hearn clashed with Jake Paul live after Paul called out Anthony Joshua, calling it a crazy moment. Hearn may not take Jake seriously, but he admits Paul knows how to set up huge money fights. Even if people question Paul's boxing talent, there's no denying he knows how to stir up hype.
Yeah, no updates really. I believe the two of them spoke. I mean, it sounds wild. At the moment, AJ doesn't have a World Heavyweight Championship. He's not trying to unify, so would he do it? Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a huge money fight. It's a straightforward job. And, you know, Jake Paul likes to create these wild moments, and that would certainly be a wild moment. But, you know, then he threw in 2026 at the end. I wish he'd just do it in 2025 if he wanted to do it. So I don't take it too seriously in that respect right now. Do I think Jake would do it? I think he's mad enough to do it, yeah. So we'll see, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. If it does, great.
Is there any part of you that almost feels a bit reluctant to give Jake that opportunity in a sense?
Not really, because if you have that kind of mindset, you'll always butcher yourself. You know, but that's what I say to fighters as well. Don't worry about what they're getting. Worry about what you're getting, and worry about what this opportunity is bringing. Jake Paul could make hundreds of millions for that fight. Good luck to him. But so, yeah, don't do it because you're giving him the opportunity to do it. He's fine. Let him have it because we're having what we're having. Thank you very much. Bosh, 1 round knockout. See you later. Raided the bank, and that's what would happen in that fight. So, yeah, if he's wild enough to do it, never say never.
Jake Paul didn't just challenge Anthony Joshua. He also claimed Joshua has no chin and no skill. This rubbed boxing fans and experts the wrong way, especially since Joshua is a decorated champion who's faced legends like Klitschko and Usyk. Many think Paul is just trying to stay relevant by trash-talking a proven fighter.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua, exclusive, because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know
he
I
just
will
got
beat.
knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Top boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has slammed Jake Paul's skills, calling him a mediocre fighter. Hearn doesn't believe Paul could ever hang with the best, especially someone like Joshua. He admits Paul has gotten better, but says he's still light years away from facing elite heavyweights.
Now, is Jake Paul good for the sport of boxing?
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean,
Yeah.
Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart.
Okay.
Content creator. We have our ups and downs.
Yeah.
I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And I'm looking around for cameras. I'm thinking, am I Mike Tucker?
Eddie Hearn also laughed off Jake Paul's claim that he could beat Canelo Alvarez, calling it ridiculous. While Paul has beaten retired MMA fighters and lesser boxers, the idea that he could compete with world-class fighters like Canelo or Joshua is a joke to most experts.
Well then, it looks like Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul might be in discussions to fight. They were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury in Ngannou was when it came around, or, you know, yeah, or Mayweather McGregor. Like, you know, it can't happen.
When asked about Jake Paul's challenge, Anthony Joshua just laughed it off. He thinks Paul is only calling him out to stay relevant, calling it relevance insurance. Fighting a superstar like Joshua would guarantee Paul huge attention and paydays. Over the last few years, influencer boxing has blown up, pulling in massive PPV numbers. But now, the boxing world is shifting back to real pro fights instead of social media spectacles. Still, mixing pros with influencers keeps things exciting and brings in younger fans.
We were involved in the sort of earlier days of that influencer world. We did the second Logan Paul KSI fight in LA. Numbers were huge. We did Jake Paul's professional debut in Miami in 2019 around the Super Bowl. And then I think we made a decision to move away from it, because I think the focus of our business was we got to just keep focused on professional boxing. Maybe in 10 years we'll look back and go, crazy, should have kept on doing that.
He genuinely thinks he's a world-class fighter. Like, he thinks.
So that's not bullshit.
No, he comes up to me at that fight and he's going, you know, I beat Canelo. And I was like, and I looked at him. I was looking for his mic, you know, because I thought maybe he wants to capture a bit of this for social content. Yeah. And he's not wearing one. And I'm like, I'm looking for a camera, and there's no camera. I went, what? And he went, I will beat your boy, Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, Jesus. Mate, you are, because he's got all these guys in the gym like telling him he's, you know, and he's not. But he didn't like it because I said to him, you're average.
Yeah, I remember seeing an interview with that.
I said, that's a compliment. Like, there's a 95.
I'm being nice to you.
I said 95% of fighters are average.
Yeah.
But he's better than some pro fighters like that. I thought that was a big compliment, but he didn't like it.
He didn't love it. No.
Eddie Hearn recently confirmed Anthony Joshua is injured and won't fight until at least August. Joshua was supposed to face Daniel Dubois, but the injury postponed that fight. Despite this, Jake Paul still called him out, making fans wonder if Paul actually wants the fight or just wants free publicity.
For Anthony Joshua to return, but we've heard absolutely nothing about it. Now, the Daily Mail are saying that Anthony Joshua is actually injured. Return timeline: as Eddie Hearn reveals, the heavyweight is unable to enter even training camp due to an injury setback. Anthony Joshua's estimated return date has been detailed after Eddie Hearn reveals the heavyweight has suffered from a setback. The Brit has been out of action since he lost against Daniel Dubois in Wembley last September. With his future up in the air on the back of the devastating knockout defeat, fans have been curious to know as to what his next move is, with no announcements made, despite reports he could face longtime rival Tyson Fury as soon as this year. Now, however, it's been revealed that Joshua is dealing with an injury, as revealed by Eddie Hearn when asked if Joshua could face Dubois in a rematch after the champion pulled out of his fight against Joseph Parker due to illness. Let's carry on. That's kind of a bit more of a miscellaneous stuff. No rematch with Dubois will be happening anytime soon, though, Eddie Hearn revealed, as he details when fans can expect Joshua's return to the ring. So we won't be seeing Anthony Joshua in the ring against Daniel Dubois for a rematch. That's not going to happen. I'm going to quote Eddie Hearn here directly. Now, it's interesting because Eddie Hearn hasn't really revealed much detail on it, but bear with me. It says, not a lot to report. Not a lot to report. Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn told IFL from Australia, look, he resumed training, and to cut a long story short, without going into too much detail about any injury, he's not really ready to start camp. He needs another 8 weeks or so on his injury.
Former champ Carl Froch doesn't see Jake Paul as a real boxer. After watching Paul's fight with Tommy Fury, Froch called it a total mismatch, saying Paul just...
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. He swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just, everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defence. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him with someone his own size, it was a professional. It's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, He's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level, and then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
MMA fighter Darren Till slammed Jake Paul's call-out of Anthony Joshua as disrespectful. He says Paul, despite being a master at selling fights, hasn't earned the right to face a boxing legend. Many in the sport agree, feeling Paul is way out of his depth.
Oh, is it all just, does he actually believe that he can beat Anthony Joshua? Is it all for clout? Is it all just to keep his... I don't know. I mean, fucking... It's a little bit disrespectful as well. Like, Anthony Joshua hasn't fucking been a heavyweight world champion, beating all these absolute killers just to get called out by Jake Paul. But look, if Jake Paul believes in himself, then, you know, you can't really fault that. Like, obviously, but sometimes it comes across as a bit delusion as well. Because I know for the fight Jake, I'd beat him up easy. Not easy, I'd beat him up though. And
a lot of boxing fans actually want to see Joshua fight Paul. Not because it'd be competitive, but because they're itching to watch Paul get knocked down a peg. His constant taunts at elite fighters have annoyed purists, and a fight with Joshua could finally shut him up.
You have got to be taking the mick. Jake Paul has called out Anthony Joshua and claims, I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. You know what? I want this to happen, just so Anthony Joshua could just absolutely decimate this man right here. So first he fights Tommy Fury, a legitimate professional boxer, and he loses. Then he fights an OAP and Mike Tyson and beats him. Obviously, he's nearly 60 years old. Then he goes to try and fight Canelo, which fell through, thankfully. Then he tried to fight Tank Davis, which again fell through. And now he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, a legit world-level heavyweight boxer. Anthony Joshua is someone that I've always looked up to and probably one of my favourite boxers to this day and age. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Jake Paul here and there, but there's just things he does in the sport that I don't agree with at all. And fighting Anthony Joshua, listen, I'm all here for it, just to see him get knocked clean out. The fact that he thinks he can compete with these high-level boxers, even though he lost to Tommy Fury, is just laughable. But how long does it take for Anthony Joshua to knock Jake Paul out? I'm saying 5 seconds.
Paul's challenge to Joshua has sparked major backlash. Most experts and fans see it as pure fantasy, either a desperate grab for attention or complete delusion. Fighting a former heavyweight champ? They say there's no way he actually believes he could win.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects in Jake. But in the middle there, I don't know if she would know or, you know, whatever, but she essentially says that Jake was scheduled to fight Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, you know, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Despite the hate, Jake Paul keeps calling himself the only real fighter in boxing. He claims he's the one keeping the sport exciting, acting like he's the main attraction. Even after losing to Tommy Fury, he still boasts about being boxing's biggest star. Sure, his trash talk sells fights, but critics say he's just fooling himself about his real place in the sport.
Who is the most power you've ever felt in a fight?
I would say Tommy Fury. It's the shots you don't see, so Tommy was a little tricky. Mike's punches I could see coming. He was strong, but he didn't land anything clean, so I honestly didn't
feel Mike Tyson's full power, but that's good. I mean, you don't want to. So
I feel like he lost confidence second round. Like, he stopped giving his all.
He just started surviving.
Eddie Hearn recently hinted that Anthony Joshua might consider fighting Jake Paul as a money move. With Joshua in the later stages of his career, Hearn suggested this could be an easy payday. We're talking potentially one of the year's biggest boxing payouts. While the matchup would be lopsided in the ring, the financial rewards could be too good to ignore.
You have said that Jake Paul and AJ could be a thing in the future, or at least when asked the question, you asked
to
make sure his insurance was okay. Is that a possibility?
I mean, look, AJ's not a world heavyweight champion anymore, so we're not chasing unifications and undisputed. Like, would we fight Jake Paul for a huge amount of money? Yes. I mean, it would just be an easy night's work. I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest with you, and it's such a chronic mismatch. But Jake Paul's he's so money orientated and attention orientated that he would do something silly like that.
Many boxing experts call BS on Jake Paul's Joshua challenge, seeing it as just another publicity stunt. They believe Paul's just playing the hype game, calling out elite fighters to stay relevant while avoiding real danger. The boxing world largely views these call-outs as disrespectful to established champions. Sure, Paul's made influencer boxing work, but demanding fights with world-class professionals? That's where most draw the line.
Potentially Anthony Joshua even giving any credence to this nonsense.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'd probably still beat him with one hand. It's not. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, it blows me out the water. That's his line of work. But you're stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call the likes of Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake Paul.
A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom. Yeah. So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he? Yeah.
No, he doesn't. But again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough enough? And I get that. But when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last, now you've got more experience than me in this, dealing with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money he'll probably ever make if it does happen, and because of his profile that Jake Paul has, unfortunately, you like it or not, he's got a huge profile. That's the only reason why the question will be entertained.
Can I ask you, Paul, about what your view on the Joshua situation is? We've seen him obviously lose to Usyk.
That's all for today. See you next time.